Part of this is the soil microbes and the sunlight we already covered. Part of it is the slow rhythmic movement. And part of it appears to be the direct contact itself, all stacking into one of the most reliable natural cortisol-lowering activities available to you. This is the answer to the hook from the start of the video, that 15 minutes with your hands in the soil can pull your cortisol down within the same afternoon, resetting the stress spiral before it runs away with your whole day. To use this deliberately, treat a short hands-on garden session as a stress tool, not a chore. When you feel the tension building, go put your hands in the soil for 15 minutes, the same way someone else might reach for a cigarette or a scroll. Leave the gloves off, slow your breathing, and let your attention rest on the simple physical task in front of you. Because the combination of skin contact, breath, and focus is what flips the nervous system into its calmer state. Even indoors, repotting a houseplant by hand in real soil gives you the skin contact and the focused calm. So a single pot and 10 quiet minutes can still pull you out of the stress spiral. Number 5. Cognitive engagement, the memory builder. And this is the one researchers got genuinely excited about, because it points to gardening physically protecting the part of your brain that ages first. The hippocampus is the seahorse-shaped structure deep in your brain that handles memory and learning, and it is one of the first regions to shrink under chronic stress, in depression, and in the earliest stages of cognitive decline. Gardening is quietly one of the most cognitively demanding hobbies there is, because you are constantly planning, sequencing, problem-solving, remembering what you planted where, and learning from what worked and what failed last season. This kind of novel, meaningful hands-on learning is exactly the stimulus that supports neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, and large studies of older adults have linked regular gardening to a significantly lower risk of dementia. It is a perfect storm of brain-protective inputs, because gardening combines physical movement, which increases blood flow to the brain, with mental challenge, with stress reduction, with sunlight, and the hippocampus benefits from every one of those things. People who garden regularly often report sharper recall and clearer focus, and the likely reason is that you are giving your memory system a daily low-stress workout wrapped inside something you actually enjoy doing. To get the most of this, lean into the mental side. Keep a simple garden journal, try one new plant or technique each season, and let yourself plan and problem solve rather than treating it as mindless routine. Novelty is the key ingredient. So the gardener who grows the same 3 things the same way every year gets less of this benefit than the one who keeps gently challenging themselves with something unfamiliar. Even a windowsill of herbs gives you something to observe, learn from, and problem-solve around. So the size of the garden matters far less than how engaged your mind stays with it. Number 6. Earned reward. The dopamine reset, and this one quietly repairs something that modern life has badly broken in almost all of us. Dopamine is the brain chemical of motivation and reward, and our phones, feeds, and instant everything have trained it to expect a constant drip of effortless, instant hits, which leaves the whole system numb, restless, and never quite satisfied. Gardening runs on the opposite rhythm, because you plant a seed and then you wait, days, weeks, sometimes months. And the reward arrives slowly, in proportion to the care and attention you put in along the way. This is delayed, earned reward, and it is exactly the pattern a healthy dopamine system is built for. So every small milestone, the first sprout, the first flower, the first ripe fruit, lands as a genuine, satisfying hit instead of an empty one. The moment you harvest something you grew from a seed, you get a clean, deep sense of accomplishment that no amount of scrolling can replicate, because your brain knows the difference between something earned and something merely consumed. Over time, practicing patience and earned reward in the garden seems to recalibrate the whole system, and many gardeners notice they feel less driven to chase cheap dopamine, less restless, and more able to enjoy slow, real things. If your patience feels shot, start with something fast. Radishes, salad leaves, or sprouts can go from seed to harvest in weeks, giving your brain an early, honest win that builds the motivation to keep going. Then let the daily ritual do its work, checking, watering, and tending without rushing the outcome, because the practice of showing up for something that rewards you slowly is the medicine itself. You do not need a farm for this. A single pot of tomatoes or a tray of salad leaves on a balcony delivers the same arc of patience, care, and earned reward. So start with one and let it teach you. Number 7, a sense of purpose, the longevity factor. And this is the one researchers believe may matter most of all, because it has almost nothing to do with the vegetables and everything to do with why you get out of bed. When scientists studied the blue zones, those rare places where people live past 100 with sharp minds, they found that nearly all of those long-lived people kept gardening well into old age, and that it was tied to something deeper than the food. A garden gives you living things that depend on you, a reason to get up, go outside, and act with intention every single day, and that daily sense of being needed and useful turns out to be powerfully protective for both mind and body. Researchers have a word for this, purpose, and studies consistently link a strong sense of purpose to lower rates of depression, better cognitive health, and a longer life, independent of diet or exercise. There is something uniquely restorative about caring for something that grows, because it pulls your attention out of your own head and your own worries and points it toward nurturing life, toward the future, toward something larger than yourself. This is why people so often describe their garden as the thing that keeps them sane, grounded, and hopeful, because under all the mechanisms we have covered, it quietly answers the oldest human question: what am I for? To cultivate this on purpose, treat your garden as a relationship rather than a task. Show up daily, take responsibility for living things, and plant for seasons ahead, because planting for the future is itself an act of hope. Share what you grow, because giving away a basket of vegetables or a handful of cuttings turns a private hobby into connection and contribution, and that connection deepens the sense of purpose even further. And if all of this feels like a lot, remember it starts with one plant on a windowsill that needs you to show up for it. Because purpose does not require scale. It only requires something living that depends on your care. So let us bring it all together. Because what looks like a simple hobby is actually one of the most complete interventions for the human brain and body that we know of, hiding in plain sight in the backyard. You get the soil microbes that lift your mood,